like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to Laverne Planning Commission, August 29th, 2017, regular meeting at 6 p.m. Before we do our meeting minutes from last month, as Chairman, I'd like to offer condolences to Ms. Yvonne Abdon, one of our board members, for the passing of her father, and our prayers are with you, ma'am. First item of business, I'd like to approve the meeting minutes from July 25th, 2017, regular meeting.
Make a motion to accept as submitted.
We have two motions to accept as submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes pass. First item of business, concept plan retreat at Finch Branch, 62.29 acres, property located at projected intersection of Spring Street and Shallow Drive, tax map 017L, Group A, parcel 008.04, R2 medium density zoning district, property owned by Robert W. Waldron. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item has deferred, and if you would like to set the agenda, I can give you all the items that have deferred. There are quite a few.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
That's number 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 11, and 13 have all deferred. That's a total of 8.
Very good. Thank you, sir. That'll save us a little bit of reading. And our next item that is not deferred will be number 3 under old business, site plan requested by Dale and Associates, proposed vehicle parking and storage, property located at 210 Waldron Road, tax map 027, parcel 15, I-2 heavy industrial zoning district, property owned by Blessed Brothers. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This site is located on Waldron Road at 210, and it's currently zoned I-2 by the city of Laverne. That's the heavy industrial zoning district. And it's approximately 0.809 acres with a disturbed area of 0.75. And the purpose of the site plan is to present the proposed improvements that would allow for parking and storage of vehicles at this site. And the property includes one parcel, number 15, on tax map 27. 2 weeks ago at the workshop, there were a total of 10 items, and there's 2 on your report tonight in your packet, and actually one of those deals with signs, and the applicant has indicated to us that there are no proposed signs at this site. So that would get rid of that item, and then the only remaining item was a 24-inch and an 8-inch water line, and there was no sewer line shown, so I don't know if the applicant would like to address that item. And I'll be happy to answer any other questions. Thank you.
Questions or comments from the board?
I suppose the big question is what happened with the 24 and 8-inch water line? Obviously, it's going to be shown on the drawing. We don't see it. The applicant would like to discuss it.
Name and address for the record, sir.
I'm Roy Dale, Dale and Associates. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The 24-inch water line is an existing water line. It's an existing water line that goes through the property, as with both water lines. This property has no building on it, and it has no sewer available to it. And that's something we discussed at the workshop. So there would not be sewer indicated. There's no sanitary sewer there at all. This is just a place to park these vehicles.
There's a reason why you didn't add the water lines? I mean,
This plan should show that existing water line. It's an existing. It's not proposed.
just I recall from the workshop that you're going to address all 10 items, and here we are.
No, the existing water line is there. Maybe it's on a layer that's shaded down, but it's existing. It's not proposed. It's not a proposed water line. There's indicated on the plan a proposed water service line because there is irrigation. I actually set the property back 5 feet because there was not a 10-foot strip in the front, and I think you had a 10-foot requirement. So I widened the strip, and there's actually a meter there for irrigation, and there's also a meter there for domestic service in case they need water on site. But if there's a 24-inch water line, it's just an existing water line. It's not proposed.
But I suppose from the staff standpoint is if it's existing, why is it not shown on the print?
It's my understanding it was on the print, so that's confusing to me. I mean, I can look at it if you like.
I mean, I'd like to step up and have a look and see what, because we're approving, as you well know, you've been here before, we're approving, this drawing, so the staff can work off it. And so, I think with the discussion we had at the workshop, if it's there already, we need to identify where it is so the staff knows where it is.
It's my understanding it's on the plan, that's what I'm saying. If I can look at the plan, I'll see if I can see it.
You want to step
If
up
it's
and
not, then
take a look? So if you want to just take a look, so I'll make sure that we're concurring with this, that he's showing, that he's indicating that the line is on here. I just want to make sure we all understand, because at the end of the day, this planning commission approves or disapproves it, the staff has to work with the prints as submitted.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, those are all your comments.
it could easily be overlooked. I mean, since it's out by the street, probably, but I mean, it's there. It's on the plan.
I understand, but
Yeah,
you see our standpoint, the staff's going to work off
it's
these
fine.
prints are submitted, and that's what we're going to approve.
It's
this.
awesome. Yeah, no problem.
Mr. Chairman, with there's no proposed signage,
That's correct.
okay, and no proposed signage, and the 24-inch line and water lines are shown, and the staff's agreed to it. With that, I'll make a motion to accept as submitted.
We have a motion to accept as submitted. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Was that Mr. King that gave the second?
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Next item of business. Site plan request by SEC Inc. for proposed truck access improvements at Trinidad Benham Corporation, property located at 140 International Boulevard, tax map 017, parcel 002.03, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Trinidad Benham Corp. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This property is zoned I-2 Heavy Industrial, also located at 140 International Boulevard. And this site plan, the improvements on the site plan will allow for large tractor-trailer circulation on the property. That property includes one parcel, 2.03, shown on tax map 17. And there were several technical items at the workshop 2 weeks ago, and everything has been addressed except the sidewalk comments. And I understand in the zoning ordinance, either the applicant can install a sidewalk or they can pay a fee in lieu of. So beyond that, that's all I know from the planning side. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there a representative from this project here? Name and address for the record, sir.
John Miner with the SEC at 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard in Murfreesboro.
Thank you, sir. In regards to the two technical items, should propose sidewalks on sheet 3. New sidewalks should be shown on all sheets.
I think we'd rather pay the fee. If,
Did we take fee in lieu off the table?
Where was this located? Yes, we did.
140,
Yes.
and
okay,
do you want to go ahead and defer and put the sidewalks in and come back next month?
can we have it approved as noted?
No.
And it really needs, if it was just a simple something, it'd be one thing, but being all pages need to be corrected, we really need to come back around.
The other thing we discussed at the workshop that you were here with, we were widening one of the lanes. Did that get rectified? And there was a 61 listed as well. There's two other items that we discussed. I just want to make sure they've been addressed as well. Widen. So referring to make sure that the truck could get all the way around the junction. Is that still, if you put your engineering, will make sure that the truck can get around there?
Yes, we show a truck turn template on sheet 4. We'll show that it can make a turn. And our client said that they estimate 2 to 4 trucks per day. So fairly minimal.
So we're gonna bring this back to workshop if you request a deferral. And the items that we want addressed at workshop,
Yeah.
Mr. Coates?
So I just want to show the sidewalks on the sheets. Did you have a copy of this?
Yes.
Okay. So I obviously need to address those two items. And the other one of the widening, I need to look at that more of what we're referring to, but there was another area there that we agreed to get done, and I need to validate it on this sheet that we discussed at the workshop.
And a request formal deferral?
Yes. Formal deferral.
Yes, we will see you at workshop, sir.
Okay.
Next item,
On 4, 5, and 6, is that the last deferral, or what do we do on that?
thank you, sir, my apologies.
Father Khalil visited me, I think last Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, and I think the latest proposal is to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I think they've already applied. So that would be on September 26th, the last Tuesday
Okay.
in September, and they would seek a special exception for the 6 acres next door to them for it to be extended from the current church to next door. And then they would come back a month later with a combination plat and put the 4 and the 6 together to have a 10-acre tract. And so the C2 rezoning would go away. It'll have to be formally withdrawn. But if they are granted a special exception, they won't need to rezone to C2.
Okay. So,
That's the long and
and
short of it.
how many deferrals do we get before we have to vote? 3, correct?
Correct.
Yep,
I
so
don't
it's
know
3
if that's-
deferrals before
I
voting.
think that's a,
The last board just did the one deferral.
Different boards. Different boards. Different boards. So I hope that answers your question. We're gonna keep flowing with it. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Next item of business, my apologies. Number 9, overlay district design standards request to deviate from approved materials requested by Haas Musavi from the proposed Central Park Retail Center, property located at 5291, 5295, and 5299 Murfreesboro Road. PO Tax Map 014, parcel 072.00, C2 Highway Service District, property owned by Haas Musavi. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the workshop, the applicant was asked to bring a materials board, and I've not seen that. I did get a mysterious brick delivered to me, wrapped in paper. I don't know why, because they were approved with brick a year or two ago, so why would you bring me a brick if you're changing materials? And then they submitted these, and I can't read them. I'm 40, and my vision's really bad, I guess, for 40, but I can't make light of any of this. So I don't think they fulfilled their obligations. And that's the only report I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone from this project here to represent them? I'm going to take that as a no, and we'll proceed forward. I will entertain a motion on this, since we don't have any written deferrals or anything.
I guess the wording should be that, I make a motion that the board upholds upholds the decision of the city planner with respect to Murfreesboro Road, streetscape overlay district request.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item of business.
Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry, can you clarify what your motion was?
Absolutely.
Should I get it correct?
Mr. Jones?
I made a motion to uphold the decision of the city planner as respect to the Murfreesboro Road streetscape overlay district.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next item of business, site plan request by Kimberly Horn for the proposed A-plus secure package parking expansion Lot 1, property located at 349 Mason Road, tax map 017, parcel 16, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by LIT Finance III LLC. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. Kimberly Horn, on behalf of their client, is requesting approval of a site plan for the A-plus secured packaging parking expansion located on 9.38 acres at 349 Mason Road. And the property is located on the east side of Mason Road. And the purpose of this site plan is to present improvements for the lot that will allow for increased circulation on the property. And all technical items from the August 15th workshop have been addressed, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Any applicant, please come forward. Just want to make sure we discussed, or we handle everything as we discussed.
Is there an applicant here in regards to this plan? State your name and address for the record, ma'am.
Yes, it's Katie Burke with Kimberly Horn. Address is 412 Oceanside Drive, Nashville, Tennessee,
Thank you, ma'am.
37204.
Thank you, ma'am.
So there was two options on the parking. You went with just the one as we discussed.
Correct. Yes, we removed the parallel parking option.
Very good.
Chairman, if all the items been addressed, make a motion to accept as submitted.
Motion to accept. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
ma'am. Moving on to number 12. Site plan request by IEC and Dale Homes for a proposed warehouse of 4,800 square feet, property located at 438B Dick Buchanan Street, tax map 014, parcel 67.03, I-1 Light Industrial Zoning District, property owned by BH Homes Construction Company, Inc. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant at this location on Dick Buchanan Street is proposing a 60 by 80 building, which is shown on the plans submitted as a 60 by 80 warehouse. And in the future, they are planning to convert their existing maintenance building into an office building, and then they would remove the office building that's currently on the site. And there were many items at the workshop on the 15th, and they did address some of those, but they did not address all of them. So those are shown on the report that's in your packets, and I'll be happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Representative from this project, please come to the podium. State your name and address for the record.
Leon Gaddis, Industrial Environmental Consultants, 2603 Fessy Park Road, Nashville, Tennessee.
Thank
I
you
have
very
not
much, sir.
seen
Okay.
the latest, because what I had last time was just a
Yeah,
duplication.
and there was a bit of confusion last time between the two reports, so I more than understand that. There are a number of technical items on here that need to be addressed. Would you like to defer this to address these, and then we'll proceed forward? Here, I'm going to give you a copy so y'all can take a gander at them together.
To answer your question, there was 31 items for the workshop, and at the present time we're showing 27 technical items. So.
And it looks like most of them are fairly minor. Is that correct, Mr. Logan?
With all due respect, this is, the same thing I had from the last meeting and the meeting before. With the exception of 3 items, and those were misspelled words. That certainly wouldn't qualify for.
I understand that, but communication is what this is about, so let's just take a look at some of the items and we can discuss it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that they're minor. Plans need to be correct. Whether, right or wrong, right's always right, wrong's always wrong. So I can't go through here and just throw comments out that haven't been addressed. For instance.
No, I'm asking it.
Number 8, label street to the west of the site with a full name of the street. And if it's not a public street, then label as private.
Okay.
This is stuff that's,
We'll get through
everybody
it.
does.
We'll get through it together.
Well, it is Bobby Drive, which is a private drive, sir.
We just need it labeled on the plan.
It is.
It's not labeled on the plans that they have. It's not labeled.
Do you have 15 sheets?
I do.
And you're going to tell me that it's not labeled on any of those sheets, sir?
It's the street to the west. There's 2 streets.
Well, the whole street is Bobby Drive, sir. The street to the west, it continues all the way down to Dick Buchanan. That is actually a private drive.
So it makes a complete L.
Yes, sir, it does. If you look on your tax maps, you will see such. That is where the information came from, sir.
At least we're making progress. That's the important thing. We're moving in the right direction.
Well, for instance, the second one where it says correct title sheet concerning 9A, B, C, and D, there is no longer a 9A, B, C, and D because there are now 15 sheets as opposed to 10 sheets on the last set.
Gotcha. Well, if it was 1 or 2 items, we could probably work through it in meeting. But being that many, I think we need to go ahead and defer, get it back to workshop. Let's work through this, get these addressed, and
All right, sir, may I ask a question?
absolutely.
I mean, if we come back to the workshop, how am I going to know how to read? I mean, I've been to 3 and I keep getting the same thing over and over. How do I know?
My best suggestion would probably be to have an in-house meeting with planning and sit down and go over everything between now and then. And let's just try and get this list whittled
Okay.
away.
He was supposed to have called me after the last workshop and he did not.
Okay, that is,
Sir, I did call you the next day. That's
All right.
how you knew to resubmit. You called me to ask me how many sets to resubmit.
all right, Mr. Logan.
And I told you how many
Mr.
sets
Logan.
to submit.
Mr. Logan. Sir, I think we need to go with the deferral, and then we will deal with this accordingly.
All right, sir. If he doesn't call me tomorrow, may I call him and get this settled so I can resolve? Mr. Holmes is
Please go ahead and place.
desperate to get this done.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead and plan on placing a call tomorrow.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your
So
time
we're-
and trouble.
We're going to make a formal deferral and deal with this at workshop.
Okay. Now, do I need to do anything technical to qualify for the deferral?
Tell me you would like to have this item deferred.
Pardon me?
Tell me you would like to have this item deferred.
I'd like to have this item approved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll see you at workshop, sir. Next item of business. Item number 15, amendment to the zoning ordinance, special exception to 14. My apologies. Thank you, Mr. Jones. I'd already circled it. Recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen rezoning of property request by SEC Inc., 36.69 acres, property located at 330 Blair Road, adjacent to Smyrna city limits, tax map 029, parcel 20.04, current zoning district R1 low density residential zoning district, and I1 light industrial zoning district, proposed zoning district PDR planned density residential zoning district, property owned by Marilyn Sue Mitchum. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. This applicant is requesting to rezone almost 37 acres on Blair Road, and its current zoning, it has 2 classifications, R1 low density and I1 light industrial, and the applicant would like to make it all PDR planned density residential, and that would allow for 130 single-family dwellings is what they're showing on their concept plan. And the lots are vary in width from 41 to 46 feet, and open space provided equals 12.86 acres or 35%. It's essentially the same as it was 2 weeks ago. Nothing's changed. So I'll let representation address the rest of it.
Thank you, sir. We have a representative from this project. Name and address for the record, sir.
Yes, sir. Matthew Taylor from SEC, 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Questions or comments from the board, please?
A question for staff on the rezoning. Has been a formal application made? There has? Okay. So it's not in our packet. Would you just briefly go through what we took to the workshop so we understand what we're looking at here this evening?
Yes, sir. We talked about a couple of things at the workshop. One of those was we walked through the road improvements that we're doing to the curves on the northwest and northeast corners of the property there. And then we also talked about adding sidewalk along Blair Road. And I think both of those are illustrated on sheet 8 of the plan itself. And we also talked about the home types. I think there was a little concern from Mr. Logan on the width of the lots, but I think after we talked through that those were developed specifically for our client, who will be the home builder and developer here, I think we were fine with that, it seemed. So,
in the workshop, we discussed that the part of the property is on the Smyrna side. Did that move ahead in Smyrna?
So between the workshop and here, we've not had another meeting. It is at the Smyrna Council on 9/12. So in about 2 weeks, approximately, we'll be back at council. We have been at through all of our planning commission meetings there, and we've had our first reading at council. We'll have our second and final reading at council in Smyrna on September 12th.
I'm going to assume they gave a favorable recommendation.
Everything so far has been unanimously favorable, yes. And I think we did talk about phasing. The Smyrna side would be the first phase that we would construct. It would be part of a larger phase that we did in combination with the Laverne side as well, but we would construct that side as part of our first phase.
From a discussion from the workshop, we talked about widening of Blair Road. What width were you referring to, just so we get an idea of what you're planning on doing?
So those curves are, we're going to bring those curves and make them compliant with a 30-mile-per-hour design speed, which I think is what Blair is through this portion. And those are going to have two 12-foot wide lanes themselves, and then we're going to have 4-foot shoulders beyond that. And then our traffic study also had us adding widening shoulder. I think it was a 3-foot shoulder along the entire length of the property on our side.
And what was the total width of the road at the end of the day, for as far as from the center road, which is your property, to your property, the additional width?
It'll be in the neighborhood of about 15 feet. It varied. The pavement width varies through there some, but you're going to be in that 15 to 16 range.
Okay. And the handling of, there's a stream that runs through the property. How's that going to be handled?
There are, actually there are 2 streams that run through the property. One of those runs on at the intersection of Smyrna and Laverne city limits. And then there's one that runs on really the western third of the property. And then we've actually got a third one that runs on our southern boundary line there as well. And so we're leaving those in place. We do have a couple of road crossings across those, but we want to leave the streams in a natural state right there. So we're going to leave those there. And actually we've tried to incorporate our open space focused around those natural areas.
So going back to the one curve on Blair Road, the first curve that
Yes,
comes from into Laverne on the left, would you soften that curve a little bit to make it more desirable to drive around?
We're gonna soften both the curves. So if this is the Smyrna side here and this is the Laverne side, we're gonna do this one and this one, and we're gonna time those so whenever we make the connection to Blair here, we're gonna do that work with this, and whenever we make this connection, we're going to do that work with that at the same time. So we're working in the road at the same time.
So presently there's a 3-way stop there. What's your intent on that junction, just because it is a busy junction?
Right here?
Yes.
We'd like to just bring that in and make that, actually that right there is a one-way. This is the only stop condition, I think, right here. This is the through condition. So over here at, the name of that road fails me right now.
Sam Ridley?
No, Sam Ridley is off our sheet down here.
Oh,
That's Portico Place, I believe. It goes up to the hotels. That will have a stop sign on our side. Blair will still be a 3-way or a through condition. Our road will be a stop condition. The Sam Ridley intersection will still be a 3-way condition as well.
Very good.
And obviously, you've been through our PDR requirements. I mean, obviously, it is pretty intense, the PDR requirements.
Yes, sir.
It's always very controversial rezoning. And my comment is we have a start on Blair Road, we can start to widen the road, and we need to do something with Blair Road. And this applicant is indicating that he will do that. And this is an ideal start to get it. So with that, I'll pass on a favourable recommendation to Mayor and Alderman.
I have a motion for a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We will be sending a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen in regards to this property for rezoning. Next item on the agenda, amendment to the zoning ordinance special exception to allow manufacturing and scrap operations requested by Chester McKinney, property located on Dick Buchanan Street, tax map 14, parcel 50, 50.03 and 47.02, 16 acres, I-3 industrial, special use, parcels owned by John D. Waldron, trustee Dennis Ray Waldron, John and Daisy Waldron Commercial Property Trust. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item is before you all tonight so that you can make a recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen because the I-3 zone in the City of Laverne zoning ordinance does not have any permitted uses by right, and you can only be granted a use by going to the Board of Zoning Appeals, which this applicant did also do tonight before this meeting. And so they are seeking the use of manufacturing and scrap operations. And in section 5.054 of the zoning ordinance, there are 16 uses permitted as a special exception in I-3, and this use of manufacturing and scrap operations is listed as one of the 16. And it would need, as I said before, the special exception from the Board of Zoning Appeals, and then this body tonight. And I don't know, perhaps the city attorney wants to opine on all of this, because I'm not that familiar with how it's coming to the Planning Commission, but I'll let them talk about that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be happy to fill in on that, and Kyle might have other things to add, maybe not, but currently the way the zoning ordinance for the City of Laverne is written, it requires both a recommendation by both BOZA for the use that they're seeking and also by this body. Ultimately, the matter itself will go to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for approval, and if it's approved there, it would have to come back down to the Planning Commission, so the applicant will at that point be submitting the site plan once they have got the rezoning that they're seeking today. Earlier tonight, they did appear before the Board of Zoning Appeals, and they gave a favorable recommendation for the use. And so now they're in step 2 with coming to this body for a similar recommendation. If this body gives a favorable recommendation, the matter will go at that point to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for review.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown, anything?
It's about it, and when it goes to Mayor and Alderman, there's 2 readings there also.
Very good. Any questions or comments from the board?
So if it does come back to us, we'll get to look at and scrutinise more the layout of the drawing and entrances and so forth. With that, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to pass on a favourable recommendation to Mayor and Alderman.
We have a motion for a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We will be sending a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for the special exemption to allow manufacturing and scrap operations in I-3. Final item, bonds and letter of credit.
Mr. Chairman, everyone should have a bond list in front of them, or an updated bond list. Everything is up to date, and I guess if y'all have any questions, that's about it.
Looks good. Thank you, everyone.
The Pinnacle Point was,
Pinnacle Point Phase 2 is it was one that was be a maintenance letter of credit, and I started to go ahead and just drop it off, but since it was on last month, I just figured I'd let it stay on there this month, just so y'all would be able to see, and next month it won't be on there anymore.
Okay.
Very good. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.